Thanks for tuning in. We're Julie and Dana, two moms navigating marriage and motherhood. But this is definitely not your mom's podcast.
Hey guys! We are deep in the thick of conversations because anyway, this is Julie, this is Dana.
Dana, this is not your mom's podcast.
Yeah.
We already started talking about a deep conversation, so let's just lead into it.
I know.
You're fired up.
I'm fired up because I'm like any second from like blood leaving my body and being on my menstrual cycle.
Same.
And so I'm edgy and no, I'm definitely in that weird like going down the rabbit hole yet again. I feel like I've woke up like 5 times in my life and I feel again this like, and perhaps it's because of like inflation and all of us working like it's
we
not
burned
just
ourselves
me.
out.
Everyone I know is working their ass off.
Yeah, we're all burning
and they're
out.
all working full-time jobs and managing social media accounts to try to make extra money and doing what is it like Uber runs or like the
side jobs.
Side jobs. Yeah, side jobs. And it just like occurred to me. I'm like, who decided like we are going to live our entire lives just worried about how we're going to make money and trying to make money? That's all of our energy, time, all of it goes to how am I going to make more money? And why do we want more money? Why do we want more money? Why do we think we need more money?
Well, I think a lot of people like need more money. So I think there's a difference, right? There's people who need more money, like just to survive, right? And then there's people who want more money.
Well, there's something wrong with that right there.
Yeah.
Because there's people that are billionaires.
Yeah.
Why are people suffering?
I don't know. You're very loud breath. No.
He's breathing wrong.
Our
Dana's
dog is literally like panting.
She doesn't like it when people chew and stuff.
So I feel like, okay, I saw something the other day online and it was like, everyone talks about not being able to afford a house. We've kind of touched on this before. But also like when you think about like my grandparents, they didn't travel to Europe. They didn't have, go out to eat multiple times a week. They didn't, their kids weren't in competitive sports, all these things, right? Like they lived simpler. Yeah. So they needed less. Yeah. Now I think that's with like a little bit of truth and a little bit of not truth. Like, at the same time, I think that we also have, like, when you look at the difference, our pay scale is not the same. What you used to be able to, $100,000 used to be like, you were making it. Now it's like $200,000. You're like barely making it. So like our pay scale definitely still hasn't matched.
Then I'm really poor.
But like we're still though, like, all struggling out there, regardless. House prices are insane. So just to have a roof over your head costs a ton if you didn't buy at the right time. Interest rates are insane. Most of us were forced or really persuaded to go to college. So now we're paying off student loan debt that we'll never get out of. So some of us, I think, are just like, fuck it. We're living life too. Like,
I know, but we, the people, should stand up and do something about it. And it doesn't, I'm sorry, but the political stuff, it's not there. It's above that. It's beyond that. The politics is, I can't even with all that.
It's just people always want. And I was talking to you about this. People always want. If you lower, so like sometimes when I think about this, when I'm like, I want to get out of this rat race, right? The only way I can see it working, like your husband just said, you still do need to make money. I know you're saying like you don't want to have to, but like you still need to.
But where along the lines did that become our, like why? Like what would our world look like if you took away needing money to live? Like, and I don't have all the solutions. I'm not talking about like, because you're talking about that slab place and like total chaos would happen and people think that like people would be like shooting people to steal and stuff like that. But like, what if our whole like civilization was built differently?
Well, yeah. I
like,
think
what would everyone do with their time
all day long?
Like, think about what you would do with your time. Or I even think about like Trevor, because he sits and edits a lot.
I would be naked drinking wine in a lake on a tube.
You'd do that for like maybe a year.
Well, that would be one thing I'd do.
Yeah. But you'd probably do something. You'd like join. There would be like, I don't know, in the community, the people that want to play dodgeballs on Fridays, the people that want to work on building a home or a
you'd
city
have
or whatever.
To have people working still. That's literally how it has to
happen.
I
mean, you would direct your gifts, what you were born with,
and
along with
barter.
your smarts, and you would just direct your attention to something that served you better instead of like, I need to go to school to be this because I want to make X amount of dollars because I want nice things.
Okay, I'm pulling in your reins, though, for a second.
All right, do it. I love it.
So I love that concept, but we could play all day about if society was different, and let's be realistic, it's not going to be. So let's talk about how can we get as close to that as possible? What are things that we could do in our lives to get there? I think that's how you have to think. If that's what you want, you're not going to change society. You're just not.
I know, but I want to ask everyone
why. Or
we
we start a cult.
Why? Well, I'm fine with that too, but why are we fine with that? Like, why are we okay with saying, well, they'll never be that way, so I'll just continue doing this and being sheep and slaves?
Because I think you'll drive yourself crazy if you don't. No, I didn't say stay the way you are. I said, how can you make your life as close to as possible?
It's still part of the system, though.
There are people who live very off-grid. And they do.
I know. I actually know Trevor and I's like best friend in Indiana. They lived off grid and their life was fascinating.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you can still make your life like close.
100 cats in the yard because they kept having kittens. When we drove up, there was literally like cats falling out of the tree like on us.
Oh my
They were everywhere.
God.
They were everywhere.
Well, let me ask you this.
They're on a farm.
Would you miss any bit of the lifestyle that money takes, though?
Oh, of course. I'm not saying, like when Trevor was saying, like, he's like, I'm not about to just throw everything away so you can get bored in 2 years. I'm like, oh, that's totally what will happen. Not bored, but like, I feel like I want to be inspired to do different things.
Yeah.
And so maybe 2 years I live on a farm. Maybe 2 years I go work for some corporate America bullshit. Maybe 2 years I go start my own business. Maybe 2 years I decided to just travel because I saved up money from the soul sucking job that I did or whatever it is. Like, so it's okay to keep changing. I think we're just so willing to accept and just keep running on the little hamster wheel.
So I agree with that. I mean, we've talked about that a million times. We both have said like we want to live multiple lives, and I totally do. I totally am with you. Like, and the only thing stopping me is my children.
Me too. That's what I told Trevor. I was like,
the only thing, because I'm scared to make them so unstable.
Yeah. I know. And I've heard
I already feel so unstable.
Me too. And I've always, like, not always, but I've heard some people that like came from like a cult. They're like children, or came from like sort of like that hippie kind
of
commune thing. Commune thing, or were unschooled or whatever. And they're like, I wish I would have had structure. I wish my parents would have given me this.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was. I felt isolated from society. But and so that's my fear with that aspect. But like, I don't know.
And at the same time, I think you're always going to wish for things you don't have, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to wish if you have curly hair, you want straight hair. If you want, and if you had this childhood, you want this childhood. Like, I think you can always say that you wish differently. So in some ways, I take that with a grain of salt because, like, obviously we all know I've thought about, like, RVing and all that.
Yeah.
So, like, and then I'll look at that and I'll be like, oh, like, people in the comments will always be like, your kids are going to hate you. There's no stability. You're moving every 7 to 8 years. Like, I mean, 7 to 8 days.
Like, are they
not on mine? I'm looking at RV families.
I was like,
comments.
Can they tell the future?
No, but on RV families comments, like people will say like, this is so selfish. And then it gets in my head. Like, I'm like, is it like, I know Lily would be pretty mad if I like made her move every 7 to 10 days, like, so I wonder that. But at the same time, you have someone who maybe would love to travel and would get all the great things out of it and would love that childhood. I don't know. I don't know the right answer.
I'm just so confused, and I keep feeling like this world is like really fake or something. Like it's some
like
simulation.
A simulation.
Even more though, that we're being controlled or something, and like we're given certain things to think that we have control, like our voting rights and stuff, and they'll give us like a couple things, but then like, oh, but like your house is going to cost this much, and your cars and your phones and the groceries. And we're just going to make it really hard for you to not be dependent on other outside resources to numb your pain, like alcohol, drugs, what are the dating sites where you can cheat and stuff, like whatever it is that you find, or social media scrolling like that, like that definitely makes you not like connect within yourself, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. We keep seeing everything on the outside and no one's going like within. I don't know.
I know.
It's
a big topic.
I know.
It's a big topic. And I think that like it's very abstract. And I think that we don't know what society would look like in any other way than it is now.
I know.
I would say though, like I said to you, I think you could drive yourself crazy with that big concept, but I think you can start small and then make it bigger. So like you start with changing within get as close to that lifestyle as you want, and then you inspire others to do the same.
Right. Oh, I totally think it starts per human.
Yeah.
Like we're all here, and if you are inspired to be a certain way and someone else sees that, then they're inspired, and then it starts going, right?
But I agree with you. I think us living different lives and changing things up is really cool. I was even just saying to them, like, there's house swapping. Like, you can literally, like, leave your house for 6 months, and a family from another country or state or whatever moves into your house, and you move into their house and get to live that, like, different life for a little while. There's programs like Boundless Life. I feel like I'm plugging them, and I don't even use them. But they are a company that will set up everything for you to go abroad. So like they have certain countries they work with, and they will get you for X amount of, you pay them, and they set up your living, your costs, your living, your visas, the kids' schooling, everything. And you can like go live abroad for 6 months. You can RV, you can go buy property and live on the land. I mean, there are ways to start making those changes small.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They exist.
Yeah, no, I think I'm still focused on the money thing. It's like we're still
but that's why
trying to work so hard so that we can go we can go live our dreams.
But that's why I say if you cut expenses, that's the first step. It is.
Yeah.
The more you have in expenses, the less freedom you have. Which is why most people stay in this rat race, because they have their mortgage, which is high, their kids' bills, which are high, their whatever, whatever's going on, everything's high. Groceries nowadays, so high. If you can cut all your expenses, the less money you need to spend, the less money you need to make.
Yeah.
It's more freedom. That's my goal. I'm like, I just want to have like no debt. Like I want to have no debt. I don't want to pay for things. I just want to have like, I don't know. Cause I just feel like I used to think of it as like, I need to make more money. Mm-hmm. And then we kept making more money.
Yeah.
But our bills kept getting higher.
Trevor and I are making more money than ever. But like, what the hell?
But our bills kept getting higher. Yes. We didn't have these bills 5 years ago. We didn't. So it's like, I feel like step number one is like, there's no more making more. Yes, making more money helps in some ways, but like, you got to cut expenses where you can. And sure, some of it's not cuttable, right? But like a lot of it is. And some of it might be big sacrifices. Like maybe, and that's why I come to the point of like, if I want ultimate freedom, I get rid of my house.
Right. I know fear stops me from everything.
Because you don't need to work much if you don't have bills. Like,
I think a lot of people we're scared that we won't have a security. Like, I won't have a roof over my head for my kids. Mm-hmm. What kind of life is that, or whatever? But yeah, it's definitely fear that stops me from anything. And like you said, my children, I'm like, if I rip them out of school, rip them out of all their activities, rip them away from their friends, rip them away from their family, their extended family, and just go do something different. Yeah. Will they forgive me?
Yeah. I know it's hard. You don't want to screw them up. It's definitely easier if it's just you. If it was just me, it would be a no-brainer. I would not own a house.
Oh, I didn't own a house until now. Mm-mm. I always lived in like these little garage apartments and stuff. And
I wouldn't own a house.
And like all my friends would want these like nice apartments, and I always lived in like a shithole. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, I don't care as long as I don't have to pay a lot of money. Yeah. Therefore, I don't have to work as much. Therefore, I have more time.
Yeah, exactly.
I always lived my life that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Until I got married and have kids, which is another part of the system in a way too. I think a lot of people struggle. We've come a long way, but I think a lot of people struggle with that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. And I think for some people it's a pull. They want that life and they feel like that life was made for them.
Yeah.
And I think other people maybe get more entrapped in it because they just felt like society, that's kind of like the next step that you take.
Yeah.
I think it's a mix. But I still think that no matter what situation you're in now, and no matter where society or yourself has pushed yourself, I still think that there's always ways to unravel it and at least get, maybe not exactly, because you do have to think about others sometimes, but like get close to the life you want.
Yeah,
I really do.
Well, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, Dan, is that I do feel like I have, this is a very privileged thing to say, but I feel like I have everything I want. Mm-hmm. Like I paint, I dance, I pole. Last 2 weeks I've been sitting out by the pond like a weirdo, meditating. Not meditating, but just sitting there watching the pond in stillness without a phone.
The neighbors are like, there she is again.
Oh, totally. Like sometimes I hear their screen door open and I'm like, can you go away? Because I'm trying to do my thing here and talk to the fairies. Where I just sit there in silence and like let nature speak to me.
Yeah, you have a beautiful life.
And I'm around dogs all the time, around animals, my kids, my friends, my family, like, but it's
okay though if it still doesn't feel just right now.
Well, I also feel like we need to evolve and change to and grow. So like if you're doing like the same thing all the time, like a fucking robot, what are you doing?
I love my life, but like I'm always looking for change. And I remember like, here's a good example. I remember someone once telling me, they were talking about this person I know that vacations all the time. And they were like, what is she escaping? She must be escaping
we've brought
something.
This up before. I've also felt that way too. Not necessarily like that they're escaping, but and it's fun. And we've talked about that, the difference between the vacationing. Wait, what do we call it? A vacation?
Vacationer versus a traveler.
Right. Yeah. That stuff too. I think that's all great. And I think different things for different people. But I suppose if you're always chasing something, that means where you're currently in your life, maybe you're not as happy or something.
But see, that's what I'm saying. I disagree with that. Like, I think that I'm someone who chases. I'm constantly chasing something new, some new feeling, some new thrill, some new adventure. Like,
yeah, and that's okay. That's who you are.
It's not because I'm escaping, though. I'm very, very, very happy in my life.
Yeah.
Like,
You're
some things are from escaping, right?
Newness.
Like, I made the choice to move because I wasn't happy where I was. But for the most part, I'm easily admitting that. Like, I wasn't happy where I was, so I moved. But like, a lot of things, it's me just wanting to keep experiencing
different things.
It's just about experiences.
Yeah,
I almost feel like experience me are like collectibles. Like I'm like collecting something.
Yeah.
And I want to collect them all. Like,
well, and I think it's fair to say that like, yes, we're all so judgmental about things. And yes, I have made that thought in my head. and have also like changed that thought, thinking, well, that's just for an example, that's just her personality. There's nothing wrong if that's what you want to do. And some people are more like, nope, I want to do this forever.
Yeah.
No one's wrong.
Right. Everyone's
I'm just
different.
wondering, like, our sheep mentality. You know, that's all. I'm wishing, I don't know. I just feel something brewing, like something's going to change soon. And I don't know. And perhaps that's why I'm feeling very like, I don't know, defiant about, like, and rebellious about what we have been doing for years. Like, even like the education system, like, it's all sort of been the same forever.
Can I tell you how annoying it is to be this kind of person, though? Like, I like, we're talking about it and it's like making me sad. I don't want to be this way. Like, I hate
You want to
that
be oblivious? Or
and like
ignorance is bliss?
content.
Yeah.
Like, and not content. I am content. I don't know. Like, I want to feel like, I don't want to feel like I always have to chase something new, but I do. I really do. And like, John knows that about me.
Like, it's lonely. I think it's lonely. Like, when I have these feelings, and thank God I have you to talk to about it and bore Trevor's ear with it. But like, I feel like, does anybody else feel this way?
Yeah.
Is this normal?
It is.
Why
and
does it make
when
me
you're
feel
describing
like,
it, I can feel what you're feeling. It's an unsettling feeling. It's this like you said, like this churning feeling of like something is about to or needs to or like whatever change. Like,
I know.
And it is very unsettling. And
it's not like a midlife crisis. It's
no,
not all those
it's
things.
Constant.
I do a lot of
felt
things.
This way forever.
I have girls' nights. I have date nights. I do fun things. Like, it's not because I don't have time for myself, because I do. My kids go to school. And guess what? What I decide to do with my time, I have that entire window. And yes, do I fill it with a bunch of shit? Yes, I do. But I also love all those things that I do. So, but yeah, it's not because of like,
it's not an unhappiness.
It's not unhappiness.
It's just like, I think
it's curiosity.
I think you're right. I think it's just curiosity.
And
it's like an extreme curiosity.
Yeah.
It's hard to just like push away.
Yes. I'm just adventurous and I love exploring this world and this life and and like what it is to be a human.
Yeah.
And I'm just not going to be okay with it stuck in the house of suburban America doing what everyone else does. I'm sorry. It's just not me.
Yeah. And it's hard because sometimes I love that life too. It's just, I really, like you said, the best way to describe it is I just want multiple lives. I want to be able to switch it up every year, every other year. I want to be able to like go do something else and then come back to it and then leave it and then come back to it. And like, because
everyone wants freedom. I think everyone wants freedom.
Yeah. I really want freedom.
And that's just one way of being like free.
Yeah. All right, so we got to come up with some plans.
Oh, wait, well, I just stuttered. Well.
Hold up.
I know. I'm so excited. I can't even talk. The words can't even come out as fast as my brain's churning them. So give me like okay, I will start with mine, which I mentioned just a few minutes ago, which is, I kind of came with this on my own, but I did get this book called The Shadow Work or something like that. So it's asking you to kind of go inside and stuff. But yeah, that's how I got inspired to go sit by my little alligator-ridden pond where my other neighbors are at. I'm far away from the edge, but I sit under the trees and I just sit, and it's been interesting.
Okay, so what'd you come up with?
There's just moments. No, I'm just saying just that in itself is different.
Oh, okay. Like, that's just like a new thing you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's been moments where it's euphoric. There's been moments where I'm like, oh my God, I only have 10 minutes left to get the kids. My mind's racing. There's been moments where I feel like nature is giving me it's like reflecting my thoughts back to me and giving me good examples, like the water rippling. I'm like, oh, this is like vibration. People are all just, this is people, you know? And like, we can all flow together, whatever. I don't know. I come up with these neat things just sitting there. So that was only 10 minutes a day when I could. And it helped me a lot.
That's
good. I don't know. So other than like sitting by the pond like a weirdo, do you have a suggestion?
I don't know. Mine are all too intense. Like,
well, there are a lot of people out there that are intense too.
Well, my ideas that I always send to John are like what I've said, like swapping houses with someone and living somewhere else for 6 months.
That's not bad, but are you going to do it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Send these ideas to John. He probably has like a freaking file this long.
Oh, probably.
Of all the things that you want to do.
Or like selling the house and RVing. Or I think a big thing for me with the kids where I say I try to find the middle ground is like, I want to make sure I can come back to this life fairly easily.
I know.
If the kids are unsettled or unhappy, because they are going to come before me right now. I'll have plenty of time to do all the things I want to do in a few years from now. So like, they're going to come first right now. So like, you know, something like RVing, I would love to commit to. I would love to just sell our house tomorrow. And I wish so badly we did this years ago, because now I feel like, you know, my kids have more opinions and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, so like something like RVing, I would need to save up enough money to do all of that in cash so that we can
Yeah.
still keep our house. So maybe it
Okay.
means renting the house out and doing it for 6 months or a year, you know? But the goal would be to be able to come back, or house swapping, because the goal then is to be able to come back. So like, while my instinct is to say, let's like fuck it and let's just do it, and let's sell our house and like have ultimate freedom and do whatever the hell we want. Like, that's my instinct. But then like the mom part of me is like, hold on, like how can you do it, but like on a smaller scale right now? When
And
those
what is
kids are
that?
out, we're done. The house
What's
is for
the
sale.
smaller scale look like then, though?
So that's what I was saying. Like the smaller scale would be what I just said. Like, well, the smaller scale is what I'm doing this year. I took my kids out of competitive sports.
I know. Aren't you like a millionaire now?
No. Somehow no. I took my kids out of competitive sports.
Great.
My thought process was it saves us about a mortgage payment every month. But also it brought us back our time.
Yeah.
And it was a really hard choice. And my kids, you know, it was hard, and they accepted it, and I kind of guided them, but I let it be their decision still. And I gave them perks to doing it. So it's been really freeing. Like, for example, like we're doing something, we just booked something for like March or whatever, and I didn't have to think twice about the weekend. I didn't have to think twice
check the
about
calendar.
what was going on. It was like, oh yeah, of course we can do it.
Yeah.
So we've taken away some of those like chains that we had time-wise and financially wise. So that's a small way to do it, I guess, if like it's something that you guys are stressing about, and you know, and
no one else is stressing. I'm the only one pondering.
No, a lot of people stress about money though.
Yeah.
And that's a money and a time commitment. And a lot of people, I think if you were to ask people their biggest stressors, it would be finances and time, for sure.
I know. I don't like that. I feel like we were made for more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was made for more, and I'm gonna do it.
It's like in the Matrix when they show the body like hooked up to these like things because the machines took over and they're just using our like energy or something.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like we were gifted with so much more, but we're just plagued with these like dumb responsibilities.
Well, yeah, and think about it. If you're working so much, you can't have hobbies. It takes away hobbies. It takes away the ability to have talent. Let me tell you, okay, another part of, and again, I'm not like promoting, like competitive sports are great, okay? And like there's a lot of pros and we're missing it tons. But another great thing that has come out of it is my kids have like taken up hobbies that they didn't have. Like,
exactly.
My kid didn't even know how to ride a bike because she didn't have time.
Yeah.
Like she's riding bikes now. Like they're painting now. They're like exploring all these things that they never had time to explore. And on a grand scale, I'm hoping it's the like segue to like us all exploring things that we've wanted to explore, but like we don't have the time to do it. I don't know. My goal is just like lower expenses so we have more freedom and more time. And if we have more time, we could explore more.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even just getting up for school is annoying to me.
It's all annoying.
That's
like, what I said. We should just all be rushing naked by the lake with wine.
We're forced every day. They're forced every day to get up. We have to like pack the lunches. It's like some weird fucking, what's it called? Groundhog's Day or something every morning.
What was that movie Pleasantville where it's like all like suburbia?
Yeah, no.
And like weird. It gives me like weird feelings when I think of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, think about like probably in the 50s and 60s it was probably like that.
I would have died.
I would have definitely
not made for any other time.
and an alcoholic if I was that woman then.
Well, they were. I think a lot of housewives were on like
speed,
Xanax and speed.
I would have been on speed, Xanax, and been drinking all
Lots
day.
of drinking, yeah. I just wasn't made for that. Like the idea of that traditional.
Well, you don't know. Maybe your past life you were.
There's nothing. I don't even cook. I don't.
Maybe you then. Maybe you did
I was
then.
burnt out.
No, maybe you did then, and that's why you were gifted such an amazing husband. Now, because you're like, I already did that shit. I'm not doing it again.
Oh my god.
Now, I'm also like annoyed of my cooking. Like right now, like I feel like I prepare the same bullshit every day, every week or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like I want new recipes, and everyone's like, well, then go make a new recipe. I'm like, yeah, but that takes effort. I have to look online, and then I have to go down a different aisle of the grocery store to find this like whatever thing that they asked for. So now we're back to
you need more money because you need a chef.
No, I don't want a chef. I don't know.
I mean, what are
we do try to try new food like here and there. Yeah. Like once a week, I'm trying to like introduce new food.
Yeah,
it's mainly Trevor and I will eat whatever. It's mainly the kids, you know.
Yeah, we've been trying some new foods.
One of them likes them and the other one doesn't. You know, it's always that way every night.
Yeah, I know.
But
my kids are really into seafood right now.
That's great.
They love yesterday we were like, "Oh, Lily, like what's a special treat? Her birthday's tomorrow." We're like, "What's a special treat you'd like for your birthday?" Like, and I'm thinking like ice cream cake, brownie, you know, and she's like, "Mussels?" I'm like, "What? I don't even know how to cook mussels."
I know, I wouldn't either. I mean, you just steam them, I
I
think.
guess. But like she wants
John would know.
No, we've never cooked like shellfish like that. Like we
Oh.
make like shrimp, we'll make like scallops sometimes or
Yeah.
fish, like
Yeah.
salmon
We
or
eat a lot of
something.
fish.
But like we never cook like shell like I've never made like clams or oysters or
Right,
mussels,
I
like none of
know.
that. That's such a weird thing.
You
I
know
was
what's
just
weird for
cracking
me
up.
is that I don't know how to, like, roast, like, a pork loin or whatever. Like, I've
Yeah.
never stuck a big slab of meat and put it in the oven and, like, knew how long and, like, what
Yeah.
when I go to, like, the meat aisle or whatever, I don't know, like, what part of the meat that I need to make that.
Don't even get me started talking about meat. I can't. Like, I am so paranoid with meat. When I like cook chicken, I'm constantly cutting it. I'm like, John, does this look a little pink to you? Does it smell weird? I open the package. I'm like, nope, I feel like it smells bad. And he's like, no, it smells fine. Like, it smells like raw chicken.
Whatever,
you know?
when you eat your lettuce, it's got, like, E. coli on there or whatever, too.
Just for some reason, meat freaks me out. Like, the
Yeah.
idea of it not being cooked, I really don't know why.
But
Like,
you'll just throw it up or
it
shit
just
your guts
freaks me
out.
out. I don't know. And if chicken, do you know when it's like kind of chewy tasting? Like it.
Oh,
There's
no, when
certain
they do,
chickens
it's
that I
because
can't
it's
eat.
rib meat. I'm
Ugh.
telling you, they hide it now. They put chicken breast and in tiny little words on there, it says with rib meat. And that rib meat is chewy and
It's so
it's
chewy.
disgusting.
I don't
It
want
makes me
chewy
feel like
chicken.
the chicken is undercooked or something.
Yes.
I'm telling
So
you.
I'm saying-
Look on your package. I'm telling you it's the rib meat and tell me if I'm right because I want
I'm
to know.
paranoid with meat. Like,
Yeah.
I really don't. This is why I went vegan for so long. Because, like, it's
Yeah.
an adverse, like, I'm almost like.
I don't think we need as much meat as we do, but of course, like I've been trying to do a little bit more protein because I've been
just
trying
can
to
be
lift weights.
nasty.
I spent 15 minutes on my biceps today.
Nice.
That's it.
I
Just
know.
biceps.
I need to do more weightlifting.
Like I'm trying to do like bis and tris or whatever, like shoulders and instead of trying to do this full body workout, cardio
Yeah.
bullshit, like I'm just like doing like segments.
That's good.
I think. I don't
Yeah.
know. And then, a little bit of yoga.
I think moving your body in any way is good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the recipe. This is just my new thing right now.
It doesn't matter.
I
Do
change
what
it all
feels
the
good.
time.
I think, like, you're a mover, which is great.
Yeah.
Like, some people are just more naturally movers. You're definitely a natural mover.
I am a natural mover, but lately I've gotten like into my books and stuff. Like,
Okay.
oh my God, I'm so like ashamed that I'm into smut books. We need to talk about
Oh my
this.
God.
I am. I've read like 3 of them now. Like
I'm
it was
not
all
one bit surprised.
It's when Jess like sent me those ones about like it was like the Thorn of Roses or something
Yeah.
like that. It like started and I'm like, oh,
Is that a
my-
smut book?
A little bit.
A little touch?
A little bit.
I've heard like Colleen Hoover's like always a little touch and then it goes like way more than that. I don't really
know who
read.
that is, but I'm reading this one book about like a stalker and stuff, but like she's falling in love with him because I don't know. He's like, what would you want me have to like meet you in the bookstore and like took you out on a dumb day, bought you a flower, a dinner, and like you wouldn't really get to know me that way. Like the real like everything, the dark and everything. I'm like, oh my God, how funny. It's kind of true. Like
Yeah,
we
I could totally.
never really know who we're with, really. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I
God.
mean?
You're really philosophical right now.
Anyway, back to the smut books. I didn't know there was a whole world of them.
Oh my God, it's huge.
But I'm like embarrassed in public. Like I know that if I have a book.
Are you on like Book Talk on TikTok?
No.
Oh, you should be. I'm not. I don't really read, but every once
Trevor
in a while
sent
those
me
will
a
come
link
up.
of the books listed.
Yeah, and
I did
people will talk about
bookmark it,
this. Yeah.
And I bought one from that list.
Yeah.
And it's like chef's kiss. Like I stayed up till like midnight reading half
That's
that
what I was
book.
gonna say to you. If you look on there, like people will talk, and you can type in like smut books, and like people will talk about like their favorites and all this stuff, and like show you little like passages so you could see if you would like it or whatever.
Yeah.
But I used to love reading. Like before I had kids, I loved reading, and like when I get into a book, I will like finish it very quickly.
Yeah.
And ever since I had kids, I have not picked up a book, like
Well, I
literally in
think
a decade.
I think that's very common. In fact, I was never into reading anyways. As you can see, I'm very hyperactive
Yeah.
and a mover. So to actually sit my ass down happens zero, never until I'm asleep. Like,
Yeah.
Literally, I don't sit from when I wake up. I sit to eat. And sometimes I don't even do that. I stand at the counter
Mm-hmm.
until I'm sitting in the car. I guess I sit when I get my kids from school and stuff, but I don't ever sit in my home.
Right.
Like I'm never sitting on a couch, sitting on a chair or whatever. But lately, since I've had this book, it's forced me to like sit. And I think I like it. I think my body's like, you need this.
You need like rain and like a comfy blankie and like
Oh,
a
now we're
cup
getting
of
too settled.
coffee and
No, now we're getting too settled.
book.
It's just enough for me to sit with the book. But no, Trevor wants all that.
Oh
He's
my
very
God.
much a like
That,
all the senses.
that sounds so good to me.
I know. Well, I'm slowly undoing. I'm slowly getting there.
Yeah.
I'm slowly getting to where I'm like, I can maybe be one of those people that they
Yeah.
always show on social media where the girl gets just like this. She gets on a couch, splits her legs like this, pulls the cover over, and she has her coffee with her little slippers on
Yeah.
by like a fire or something, and like rain's coming outside or
Yeah.
something through the window.
That sounds beautiful.
And I'm like, oh, I've never really,
That's never appealed to you.
yeah, I've never thought to be like that, but I'm like, I think I'm starting
In your
to get
elder
it.
years.
Yeah, like now that I'm getting older. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's funny.
I know.
Well,
So-
I love that. I think that's really cool. So what's some books you would recommend?
Oh, I've only read like a few, but like, yeah, I don't
Which ones do you
I don't
like?
remember the titles. The Game of Thorns and Roses or whatever.
Definitely not the Game of Thrones.
The court. No, I'm getting those mixed up. The Court of Roses or something like
Okay.
that. And there's like 6 or 7 books in that, and they're fucking thick. They're
Oh,
like,
okay. You read all of those?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
that was the one Justice let me borrow, and then Haunting Adeline is what I'm reading now. That's about the stalker.
Oh, okay.
It's so good.
Okay.
I can't remember the title of the other book I read, but it was about a student and a teacher. Yeah, it's all very wrong, but it's all
Yeah.
fantasy.
Yeah.
And so Trevor's like, oh my God, this is what porn is like for you guys. I'm
Yeah.
like,
That's funny.
totally.
That's funny.
I'm like, I need someone to get in my head.
Yeah. That is
Like,
really
I'm not
funny.
getting off on like watching 2
Uh-huh.
people do it. Plus, I know it's fake.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like they're not really into it. This is an act for them. But like in the book, how it's going in my mind, I get to control how that fantasy like feels to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's definitely what I've been doing.
All right.
I'm
I
just
like
sitting there
it.
reading my smutty books.
So that's one of your new
I'm in that,
endeavors.
and this is my era of smut books.
Yeah. Okay. So you're meditating and reading smut books.
I'm not sure I'm meditating, but I'm sitting by the water to silence my mind for 10 minutes if I can. But
Okay.
yeah,
I like
I
it.
don't know. I still am taking on more than I want, and I want to start getting rid of stuff. But does anybody else have this problem where they don't know what they need to get rid of? Then
I want to get rid of my whole everything.
I know, me too. Even when I look around my house, there's 5 fucking million bottles of water or water
I
cups
know.
and like shoes and socks and
Yeah,
like
I'm trying
even-
to minimalize a little bit because again, the less stuff you have, the less you have to clean. Everything comes down to less. You need to have less of
Exactly.
everything.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
just cleaned out our garage majorly, and
Okay.
I got rid of so much stuff.
Trevor's a little hoarder. I
So
want to do
much
that.
stuff.
But he's like, well, we might use it. I'm
No.
like, no, I can buy it on Amazon for
Here's the
$12
deal.
the next time I need
If
to
you
use
haven't
it.
used it in 6 months or more, you don't need it in your life.
I think
Unless
so,
it's
I
like
know.
a annual, like, a decoration or something.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't need it. Same with your closet. Same with your stuff. You don't need it. Technically, you don't need it.
Although I am mad because one time I had a big closet purge and then now I want some of the stuff from when I.
Yeah, but you're fine. You're living and thriving, and it's fine.
Well, fine. But I keep buying other stuff because I have to replace it that I used
True.
to once have. but
Yeah. No, I
it's
hear you.
fine.
And I definitely think if something takes up a very so my rule is if something takes up like a little bit of space and I don't use it all the time, that's different. But like if something takes up a good amount of space and I'm not using it, it needs to go.
Are you an out of sight, out of mind person? Like if it's in here.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you're listening, it's a big like dresser thing. So if it's
Yeah.
like in a cabinet with the door shut,
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't care?
Do you ever well, it's not that I don't care, it's just that I don't have time. Right now, I have priority type cleaning.
Yeah.
And my priority cleaning is never closets or drawers.
Draws. I can't.
Drawers.
I'll never
Drawers.
get used to that.
And when I say draws, I'm not talking about like, I'm talking about like if that you pull out of your dresser. So
She
yes.
draws.
I know that freaking video that I posted about that went viral,
I know.
and people are like attacking me about how I say that word.
Good.
I can't.
Bring it on.
And then
up.
people from like New York and New Jersey are like, "No, you're saying it right. Power to you." Like,
I know.
yeah. So yeah. So like, if I had the perfect world where I had a lot of time on my hands, I would minimize everything. I'd want everything to be empty. But like in the world I'm living in, like I try to just do what you can see.
Well, yeah.
But my closets are bad. Like they're really bad. I should send you a picture when I get home. Like if you open I have like junk drawers and junk closets. Like,
Yeah.
I
things
mean,
get
it's
thrown in
terrible.
there.
Like I have a closet where it's just like a bunch of backpacks and bags and stuff that we don't use. It's like on the floor, and then it's like random board games up top, and then it's like all this stuff in between. Like,
yeah. No, I definitely hear you. I try just to do the basic cleaning stuff, but I do love when I can go through it. Like,
oh yeah.
I like hyper obsess and I
Yes.
like sit there for hours and I find like the little container that's going to hold push pins and then this one's going to have the safety pins.
Oh, I
and
love
this
the
and that.
idea of it.
But I'll do that for like an hour and a half and then like we need to go somewhere or
Yeah.
the kids get and then that shit was only like done halfway or a
Yup.
quarter of the way done and then I don't go back to it for another 5 years.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Listen, here's the other thing. I'm just in this new world of like, I've had a kid at home for the last 11 years. Like there's been at least one child I've had, like basically. And this is the first time, I mean, even still, my youngest is still only in preschool. So like this is the first year
Is
he's
he
doing.
still going Monday, Wednesday, Friday,
No,
or
so
all days?
this is the first time I was gonna say he's going Monday through Friday,
But only until noon.
only half days.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm still not like, I still don't have a chunk of time ever.
No, I remember
but
those
this
days.
is still game changing.
I know. I remember those days when I was like, holy shit, what am I going to do from 9:30 till 11:30?
Yeah.
That is only 2 hours. And a lot happens. By the time you clean,
I know.
get yourself something to eat or run an errand, you're like, fuck, I got to go pick them up.
I know.
To me, it was worse. It was
I
like
know.
giving you a taste of freedom. But guess what? You're on a time limit.
Yeah.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Yeah. It's hard. And like, I have to like prioritize which days. Like,
I
I'm
know.
like, and that's why like sometimes I like won't want to do anything during the day, like
Yep.
make plans or anything. Cause I'm like, I only have
Yep.
3 hours to myself. Like,
Yeah.
I have to get done all this stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then if I work the night before, forget it. I'm sleeping.
I know.
The day's gone.
The days.
But
gone.
that's why Monday through Friday has been nice because like I at least have more of those days.
At least you can plan something like
Yeah.
work-wise and
Yeah.
stuff to get it done. So I know I remember it's a little bit of something, but it's
Yeah.
definitely not a lot. And yeah, just wait till
So
kindergarten.
next year, ask me about if my closets are clean.
Yeah, right. Actually, I remember when they were first going, I was like, oh my God, who wants
I
to
think
meet
you're
for
productive
lunch?
at first. Yeah. I think
Well,
you're
and they were also like planning like some more lunch stuff because you're like,
Right.
we can or whatever.
Right.
But and then all of a sudden you start to wonder like, how the fuck am I filling my day with so much shit?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But things have
a
to
big
get
transition.
done, I guess. If
It
you're
is.
still working, I guess.
And then that goes into my whole concept of like, I'm constantly talking about like wanting homeschool. And like,
Me
I
too.
love the idea of homeschool.
Me too.
When someone talks to me about it, I'm like, this makes so much sense. It
Me
feels
too.
so right. But like, selfishly, I also am like, how am I going to do that?
So Trevor tells me all the time.
How?
He's like, because I did do homeschool.
Yeah.
He's like, let me remind you, there will be no painting. There'll
No.
be no stretching. There'll be no
No.
gardening. There'll be no bouncing around all your pets.
know.
He's like, you will literally have to be home like schooling them.
I know.
And I'm like,
I
that's why
know.
I'm waiting till they're out of like
A little
elementary.
older.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm like, because then I'll get them like on a program of some sort.
Yeah.
We'll also build like some sort of community and they're more self-sufficient. But I
For
don't know.
sure.
Even then, I'm like, I don't know.
It's still different.
Why
Yeah.
isn't there a freaking, we've talked about this before, the hybrid, but I don't know.
So the hybrid idea to me sounds amazing, and we actually have one local now that just started up. And again, it's the most beautiful concept to me. They go to school Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay.
They're home Monday and Friday.
Love it.
They use a homeschooling program.
Yeah.
They like go to a building, a real building that was
Yeah.
built, but it's, and it's cheaper than private school, but it's still
costly.
expensive. I think they're charging $6,000 per kid per year. So, and this is their first year open. So
Yeah.
what is it going to be in 3 years? You have to think about that because like, that's part of it. Like, I don't want to have to switch my kids' schools all the time. They've already switched schools so much. So I'm like, for me, it's like, that's a huge expense,
Yeah. Oh,
especially
yeah.
if you have more than one kid.
Right.
So I'm like, it sucks. I'd love the hybrid model, but it would have to be like in more pod form with like families where we weren't
Yes.
charging each other.
That's what I want. I
Yeah.
want like 30 of us or something. That way no one feels like, I feel like I could handle a group of kids once every like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like one day out of
Yeah.
the 3 weeks.
Even
if
once
we're all
every other
running.
week. Like,
Or once every other
like
week.
that's great. I would totally be down for that.
Yeah, me too.
Huh. Maybe that's our new endeavor.
I know. We were like sitting here like
Maybe
scheming
we'll
up,
create
like,
a homeschooling hybrid pod.
I
I kind of like it too.
Me too.
Oh my God, that would be fun. I've also heard of pods like all pitching in money to hire a teacher.
Yes, I would do
and
that
that's
too.
pretty cool too.
Yeah, you just hire a teacher and you pay him or her
what their salary would be.
what their salary be and a little bit more maybe. But they
Yeah.
also have flexible schedules. So the great thing about hiring someone like that is like if they needed a day off, they just didn't feel like doing it or they're burnt out, we have to stay home with our kids that one day. Oh well.
Yeah.
fine.
The only thing is you'd have to have enough people that pay isn't like too pricey because then you defeat the whole purpose.
That's what I'm
of-
saying. Like 30 kids seems right.
Yeah. But even that, you're talking, what, $10,000 a kid?
Okay, I haven't figured out the specifics, Dana.
Unless you just hire a part-time teacher.
And I'd
Someone who
st-
maybe is home with their kids already.
Yeah.
And they just want a little part-time gig and you hire
Yeah.
them for just like, 3 hours a day, 2 hours a day. Because technically they say homeschooling, you don't need as much time as with school
No, you
does.
spoke.
All right, we're on to something. We'll
We're
have to
on to
explore this a
something.
little bit
Someone-
more.
someone
Give us
comment.
advice if you have like homeschooling pod experience.
Yeah.
Because other people definitely do this. It
I know.
came around. There's a
Because
lot of
that's my one problem with homeschooling is that and maybe it's not as great here, but when I was homeschooling, yes. Are there people you can meet up? Yes. But it also took time for me.
Mhm.
I'd have to like make friends and then I'd have to drive there
Ugh.
and then I have to hang out with everyone. I'm like,
Yeah.
no,
No.
I still need my kids to go somewhere for a little bit so I can
Mhm.
do what I need to do
Yeah.
and be like a good mom too when
Yeah.
they come back. And then the one place like that they wanted me to come in and like dedicate every Friday or something. I'm like, I don't want to do that either. Like I need to find something where it's like,
we need a homeschooling pod for selfish moms.
yes.
We're trying to do a little, but not a lot, you know?
I'll give you a little smidge.
Yeah. I'll buy snacks.
Yeah.
I will totally provide snacks. I will come up with like an activity once here and there. I can help set up field trips. I'd be good at that.
Yeah, you can do that.
I'll do
that would be way overstimulation for me.
I could totally do that. That's fine.
I'm like, do you guys want to go for a walk? And I loved when we'd go for a walk and we look at nature, and we had this little app on our phone where you can like look at like the cicada, I think that's what they're called, right? Cicada or whatever, and be like, oh, they only come out in the summers. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, I love learning about like nature and biology and animals and plants.
So my other
thing
with homeschooling, this is my other like problem I run into a lot. Like when I think about it, is like my kids are very different ages too, and it's like, so that concept's hard for me as well, because I'm like, you know what my oldest needs and wants and is learning is very different from what my youngest is. And like, it very much amazes me. Like there's a family in my neighborhood that homeschools, and their kids range from, they have 4 kids and their littlest is like 3 and their oldest is 13. Right. So like there's a range, and it amazes me that you can homeschool that many kids. And I know the older ones are a little bit more on their own, but I also don't want my kids glued to the iPad. So it's like,
me either.
There's a lot of like fine lines there where I'm like, I almost feel like I would need like a sitter or something to like help me, because like, would I really be able to devote time to each of them schooling wise?
I know.
And my kids like fight sometimes and stuff. It's like annoying.
Even with my 2 kids, and they're young, you know, I'd sit there with Styles trying to work on like 2nd grade math. Yeah. He was in 1st grade time. And then with Freya, I'd be over here like just trying to, like, I'd have to dedicate like an hour to him while she's running around, pulling shit down or whatever it was. And I'd be like, okay, you work on that. And then I'd sit, I'm like, okay, what color is this? Like working on like our ABCs or colors. And then I'd flip back over. It was stressful.
So if you are a homeschooling family, like, I want to know about that, actually. I would love to hear, like, how you handle different age groups and siblings. Yeah. So in current events, with also dealing with homeschooling, I'm sure you don't know, so I'm not even going to ask you, do you know? Because you don't. She does not keep up with any of it. But I only know
just about like UFOs and shit, I'll know.
I know. That's true. You know a lot about that
Did you see they have like the best UFO like finding ever, like that I think they've captured. It was on there for like 16 whole minutes or something. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing. I just saw it pop up. So who knows? Well, no,
I was just going to say
orchestrated by the higher ups or something. I don't know.
There's an account called Ballerina Farm. And she is, and I'm sure you have seen her. You just probably don't know. But like, she's mega big on like TikTok and stuff. And she blew up because she lives this like, she has like 8 kids or something. She's a stay-at-home mom. She was a ballerina before she had kids. She like dances beautifully. And she is like very much a traditional like homemaker type thing. So she always does videos of like, my kids wanted a caprese sandwich day, and it's her like hand making mozzarella and like cutting tomatoes from the garden. Like everything is like homesteading, right?
I want hand-cut tomatoes from my garden.
I know. So where she got a little controversial to people is like, she was kind of playing up this like, and not that she ever said it, so I don't see it as controversial, but she was kind of playing up this like very like homemaker, traditional, having to, I guess, do it role, which is usually like kind of more towards like, I guess people felt like she was portraying like a poverty feel, but really she's like very rich. Like her husband owns like an entire airline or something like that. Okay. So they're really rich. Like the stove that looks like it's like an old school like crappy stove is really like a $40,000 stove or something, you know, like things like that. And so people are like, well, you know, she's portraying this beautiful lifestyle, but like she also probably has like nannies behind the scenes and this and that, which like, who gives a shit, right? Like she's living the life she wants to live, and good for her. Like it's amazing. So anyway, all of that was great. And then she posts this video. People still loved her. Then she posted this video recently, and it was her opening her birthday gift that her husband got her. And again, keep in mind, he's like super wealthy, right? So she's opening it, and she's like, oh my God, is this like, please let this, I guess she wants to go to Portugal or something. So she's like, please let this be like tickets to Portugal, whatever she's saying. She's
I'm
like
nervous.
So excited.
Don't tell me.
And she opens this box, and it's like a knitted, crocheted like egg chicken holder, you know, like chicken eggs that you could like go out to the thing and you put your eggs in. And that's what it was. And she was like, oh my God, I love it. And it was like really awkward.
So I'm sure that was like, I don't know. I thought that was planned.
Wait, so there's 2 people. Yeah. So there's people who are like, oh my God, that's horrible. Like, and then they start digging into her past, and they're like, look, she was like forced to quit ballet, and like raise her 8 kids and like he's a chauvinistic whatever and
Oh
blah blah
my
blah. And then
God.
there's people who are like, she just got you all talking about her. Like
Not only
they're
that,
not dumb.
she likes her little, like, that's a thoughtful gift.
She looked sad in that. I will say that. But like again, was it an act? Was it just for publicity? Is she playing it up? You know, like
But
the
what
way I feel like
about-
JoJo Siwa plays publicity up. Like I think they're marketing geniuses in a way.
I feel bad for like, I was just thinking about this when I was driving. I feel bad for like young people. I feel like they think like if they're not getting a spa treatment or a push present or whatever, they're doing something wrong. Like
Right.
they can't give their significant other like the things they want to. Meanwhile, they're barely making ends meet. So it's like, I thought that's a very thoughtful gift. Like if she has chickens and she gets her eggs and it's this cute crochet thing, to me, that's a thoughtful gift. I love that way better than some fancy purse or some, I don't know. I mean, yes, a trip to Portugal is great, but like do that as a family thing, not just like my birthday present. Or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know. I just feel bad for him now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know.
Because he's given her a great life. Why does he have to fucking buy her trips?
I don't know. And none of us will know the answer of if that was actually like an upsetting moment or not. You know, like it's all hearsay and guessing.
Yeah.
But it was just funny. Like the internet went hard. Like all of a sudden they were like digging into her past and posting videos of her dancing at 18 and like all this shit. And I'm like, oh my God. Like people went crazy over it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of want to see it now.
And then, like I said, people don't like that she's portraying this like lifestyle, but like probably, I guess they feel like she's giving false, like a false view of this lifestyle, like like how beautiful this like traditional homemaker lifestyle is and homeschooling and all this. And it's like, yes, it's beautiful in your sense because you have the money to afford the help.
Right.
But like, it's really like, it's hard. And, you know, and I get that. I really do. But I also think that we hold too much responsibility on these influencers. Like, it's not their responsibility.
Just a form of entertainment
it's your
for you.
responsibility now to like keep that in mind. This is entertainment. This isn't how real life is.
Yeah, you started watching her because you liked it. So what does it matter if it's true or not?
Yeah.
I think everything is fake.
Yeah.
I think everything that we see is not like true. I think it's all orchestrated by something because like it just feeds into something else.
Well, I think things could also start true and people morph. And people have such a
That's
hard
right,
time when
too.
people morph.
That's right, too.
Like,
Yeah.
I'll give you a perfect example. That Bobby girl, I've sent you her interviews before. She is she was a mom influencer or whatever, but like she was like known for this like really dry, quirky humor.
Okay.
And she always did it. That's how she got her following on TikTok like years ago. And
Okay.
like she would just very like, I don't know, she would like play these things. She used to like say her kids' names like were different. I don't know, stupid stuff. But anyway, she had this whole thing and she was very relatable. You could tell she was like a regular mom in a regular little apartment, you know? And it's like as she got bigger, people hated on her. Like they hated that, oh, well, now you have money and now you're changing and now you're out. Yes, she's changing. Like I think it would be very hard not to change if all of a sudden cameras were in your face, money was being thrown at you. I'd love to think that you wouldn't change, but most people would morph a little bit.
Totally. You just have to decide if like you want to sell your soul or you want to stay true to who you were, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
If she was offered more money and she was not doing good and that means she shifted a little bit, fine. And I guess the world wants us to be more genuine or something. I guess the world wants us to be stay that girl that was suffering in her apartment, that wasn't making a lot of money and putting herself out
The
there.
starving artist who becomes successful. Like they're not always like,
That's why I
they
think
like the
AI
starving
can't-
artist story.
That's why I think like the robots and stuff, like I don't know if they're really ever going to be that successful because people want to see that part of humanity.
They do. And they love that. You know what bothers me though?
The
is
rich
like,
people all the time, like I have had friends and stuff where they're definitely way more well off than Trevor and I, but I think they find us interesting. Do you know what I mean? Because we're not like them. We're not sitting there talking about how much money we got in the bank, our finances, our house over here and our house over there. Like we're like real people.
But here's the thing, and this is what I hate about humans, is like and this is a very general statement, of course, but like I feel like we tend to love to see the starving artist, the mom who's like relatable. And we cheer them on as they're gaining a little success, right? Like everyone's happy for them when they get their first little break or their first little deal. Everyone's their biggest cheerleaders. But as soon as they get too successful, everyone hates on them.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
like,
maybe they
why
went too
can't we
far.
cheer you on forever? And it's like, I think it's a jealousy thing. I think people tend to be
Yeah.
like, why her? Why not me?
Well, I don't know. Just like we could sort of see like when the celebrities sort of like, or I don't know. I guess because when you do things for money like that, once again, here's the thought. It's like, why did you need to go there just to get more money? Like, why couldn't you say who
Well,
you
I'm
are?
talking about in a general aspect. I'm not saying someone who like becomes a bad person now. You know, I'm not talking about like, yes, of course you have your stories where someone was a great person or relatable or whatever, and now they're like totally on the other end. I get that. Now you're not going to be interested in them. I'm just talking about the person who stays fairly true to who they are, but they morph a little bit. Maybe now they're wearing nicer clothes. Maybe now they're like, you know, going and doing some
like
surgeries.
Like, why couldn't you be happy that they're finally not struggling?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like it's funny to me. It's like you want people to do well, but not too well.
Well, you know what? If you put yourself out there on social media, like, and you do change from the beginning person,
you're
and
gonna
you grow
get hate.
online or whatever, like that Christina Sutra that I follow, like, she's now like, she's definitely been targeted for like, you're too sexy, you're full of yourself, you put your kids on there, and all you do is smoke pot and show your body, and do you ever work? Well, like, she's been hated on.
Oh,
for
you're
like
gonna get hate
so much, but
Yeah.
it's also been beautiful to watch her grow as a person.
Yeah.
She's gone in and out of phases where her whole life was like kids, being pregnant or having little ones crawl around her, to having more time to like paint, to quitting smoking weed, to then going back to weed, then quitting smoking weed, to go back to weed, and people judge her for that and judge her for not being on, judge her for being on it, judge her, you know what I
it
mean?
takes a really cool person to be able to be like vulnerable online.
Yeah. I guess
I'll tell you,
just like true friends, the ones that want to watch you grow will stick it out, and the ones that were only on there for themselves anyway and didn't really care about you as a person, you were just there for entertainment. Of course, you're gonna get something from them. That's just the way social media is gonna be.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, like, on a very small scale, so I can only imagine on a big scale. I always tell John it's like my own little social experiment, but it's so interesting. So when I post a video, if it has like, you know, under like 20,000 views, let's say, or under 50,000 views.
Under 20,000.
No.
Whereas I have like 14 people.
No, listen, even if it's like 100 views or 20,000 views, I just noticed something. People will comment talking to me. So they'll comment things like, you know, oh, like what do you think about this? Or, oh, like you look whatever, or whatever it is. They're commenting to me as a person. When I have a video that goes viral, like any of my videos that have like, you know, hundreds of thousands, more like in the, like if they're like 1 million plus, people are no longer commenting to me. They're commenting about me in the comments.
Yeah.
Like they'll trash talk me in the comments, or even if it's a positive thing, but it's not to me. And it's funny. It's like they think I won't see it because I guess the video, it like detaches me as a human being.
Yeah.
I guess when you see a viral video, you're thinking like the creator isn't the one posting it, or the creator's not going to see the comments, but like I'll look at it and I'm just like, it's so interesting to me.
Because people can hide behind their little fucking phone.
Yeah.
Just like road rage. You could sit there and you'd be like, you motherfucker, blah, 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 blah. And the car drives by and you're like, yeah, I showed them.
Right.
Because that person just zoomed off and you're not going to face them face to face. And you get like all excited about telling this person off. It's like,
yeah,
you know, why don't you just go like punch it out or something?
Yeah. So it's just interesting. So my point being is like, I would imagine that creators who constantly are hitting that hundreds of thousands, millions of views every video that they post, they're probably seeing what I'm saying like all the time, which is people just talking at you, about you, at you, whatever, talking about you in the comments.
Those comments, doesn't it do something to you?
So,
even if you're like, I know that they're just being that and it raises my views, does that hurt your feelings?
Sometimes it'll like affect me for a second, or I'll have this like urge to like sometimes say something back. I've definitely like, you know, started something and then been like, oh, who fucking cares, you know? Or sometimes, I mean, I have commented back before sometimes, you know? I always find it funny when like they have their profile. Most people that are commenting like that have a private profile with no picture, but I love it when they don't, because I'm like sitting there and I'm looking and I'm like, oh, I so badly want to comment on all your stuff right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's like they'll post something really nasty. I know. They'll post something really nasty and I'll go to their page and they have like a daughter and a granddaughter. And I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Seriously.
You know, it's just funny.
Well, I guess just like we always say, social media is used for there's nothing wrong with using it as a form of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
They're just using it, I guess, instead of getting like therapy, they're just using it to whatever's like not going well in their life.
Yeah.
They're using it as an outlet.
For sure. And usually it doesn't bother me. And I will say though, me and John have had this conversation because we're getting to the age where like our oldest asks for social media, even as small as like YouTube and this and that. And I'm very hesitant to it. And it's actually not for the reasons I feel like people think. It's really not for, you know, me being worried about them being online or what they post. Like, of course, those are concerns of mine. But actually, my biggest concern is a developing child who has a lot of insecurities being in those comments, because I can tell you
what
right
about,
now.
Can't you just block comments?
Of course you can, but is your kid going to see them first?
No, I mean like the setup.
Turn off the comments.
That's what we do.
For sure, you definitely can. And like that's one option. For me at that point, they have like a YouTube account, all of them, but they're all private, so no one else can see them. They're just to make videos.
Yeah.
Like that's editing part of it. To all private. Like I don't want their friends at school seeing it. I don't want it to ever come back to haunt them. There are things
they're
that
still
like
gonna make mistakes. I was just telling my kids about them. Like everything you type, on your little text messages and everything is forever.
That's what I told my kids too. I said, let me tell you, you don't want to trash talk someone on text message. Yeah. I said, even if it's to your best friend.
That's right.
That person gets mad at you one day, screenshot, send it to the whole school. Like, you have to keep that in mind. And same with posting a video or something. Not that we're there yet, but like, you could post something.
Yeah, I'm like, someone in the background could walk by
100%.
in a bra or whatever.
100%.
And now you're in trouble for freaking
These
showing
kids live
body
on
parts.
FaceTime. Yeah. And you don't know what's going to happen behind you.
Like Jack's running around naked in the background. Clip.
100%. So that all scares me a lot.
Yeah,
it really
scares
me
too.
But with that being said, with like the YouTube part, like the comment part scares me too. Like I'm very nervous, even as my kids get older, where I can't say no to them having this stuff 16, 17, 18 years old. I'm still nervous for that because I just think about how insecure I was in those teenage years, how easily I was like crushed down. And I can't imagine if there was a whole handful of strangers being like, you're fat, you fucking suck. Like, that's going to hit them hard. I always say to John, like, I'm a very confident 34-year-old woman who could handle this now. I'm going to tell you, even in my 20s, I think these comments would have gotten to me sometimes.
Yeah. Oh,
it's only now that I can truly say I can
handle it. I took down that one
it.
video about the dog poop because people were like, you're a fucking idiot, but I'm like, that hurts my feelings.
Yes.
Fuck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just not made for that world. Like,
yeah.
I try to be like, I don't care, but like, I do.
Yes.
Don't be a mean motherfucker.
Yeah.
Why are you have to be a mean motherfucker?
Like, scroll past if you don't like what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Like,
I don't know. I've never, ever commented something mean on someone's things. Even people I like disagree with. I'm just like, oh, I'll scroll past them or I'll block them.
Well, we're supposed to be in this world of contrast where people have different opinions and different things. Like, that's the beautiful thing about life. We don't want pleasant, though.
Commenting on someone's looks or
whatever. Yeah, like, we were born this way. It's not like we can help it.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous. So anyway, that's my concern. That's my concern as my kids get older, and I don't know how I'm going to navigate that.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
But I don't know if you can because it's going to happen one way or another. I guess unless you just don't let them have social media until they're like 18, till they're an adult. But like, it will happen.
Oh, it'll definitely
Whether it's
happen,
for a best friend that
yeah.
told your secret to someone and they screenshot and said, it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just, I guess, about teaching confidence and then teaching, like, caution. Confidence and caution.
Yeah.
You know, be careful with what you say, especially in writing.
I don't understand, like, why people aren't, like, trying to teach their children better or something.
I don't know, but I think in school now there should even be a whole course on this.
Too.
Internet safety.
Just because this is our world.
Yeah. Like, this will be part of our homeschooling agenda. We will have an internet safety course. But for real, like, they should learn about this stuff. They should learn about predators. They should learn about
people, and even people at the age of 18 till like our age, your anger is still like you haven't like figured out outlets necessarily, or you're not able to control your emotions as well because you've never been taught. And so you'll sit there and fire back on something. And now that's forever.
100%.
So you're like 25, 26 fighting about
I'd be much
your
more likely to fight
political
back.
view or your religious view. And it's like, really? Like, what are you doing? No one cares
I think it would be
about
a
your
great course.
opinion.
I really do. And on everything, on internet safety, predators, on commenting, on screenshotting, on all these like things that could come up.
Yeah.
And like, of course, that's the parents' responsibility to teach the kids. But like, I almost feel like sometimes when it's coming from other adults,
totally. They don't want to listen to you.
Or other teens or other whatever. It hits differently, you know?
Totally. You're
it's
right.
A different view. It's
yeah,
the same
because
way,
I sit there and try to lecture my kids, they're like, I know, Mom.
I know.
It's always, I know, Mom. And I'm like, okay. Well,
yeah.
Do you?
Interesting. So anyway, I think that's a good end point.
Me too. All right. We're going to come up with a course.
Yes.
No, I'm not. But I don't have time for that shit.
All
I'm
right.
going to sit by the pond and ponder about how I'll come up with this.
Let us know ways you're improving your life and
we are itching for the homeschool. I can feel it.
I can feel it too.
Give us like some feedback.
Yeah. My name is Dana.
This is Julie.
And this is Not Your Mom's Podcast. Make sure to subscribe and we will start putting out more episodes again. We had like a little summer hiatus, but we're going to be back now.
Well, yeah, we're not robots. Like we have to live our lives too. But
thank
you if you are following. That means a lot.
All right.
Bye. We're done.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to follow and subscribe so you can tune in next week.